Now, the Albanese government says that $3 billion defence sell-off it announced today is of Defence Forces buildings and land it doesn't actually need. Some of the buildings are empty, broken up. It's going to save money by selling them.
Shame on the Albanese government for the way they have destroyed the morale of our fighting men and women, and shame on the Albanese government for the news today that they are selling off our prime defence land and bases across our country. Labor is selling off historic bases like Victoria Barracks in Sydney and Melbourne, central to the ADF's identity and history. Labor is selling off important bases like Irwin Barracks in Perth, home to the 13th Brigade and the heart and soul of our Army Reserve in the West. Labor is selling off key bases like HMAS Penguin, which provide an important presence and capability in Sydney for the Royal Australian Navy. And Labor is selling off land near sensitive bases like Swan Island in Victoria, putting at risk important capabilities. The Albanese government are not stewards, they are wreckers, and they are wrecking our inheritance. They are pushing our fighting men and women and their families further away from the cities that we depend upon for the recruitment of our soldiers, sailors and airmen. Why? For money.
That was the man that the Liberals told this week, "Nah, we don't really want you as leader, you're too extreme." Andrew Hastie, a former SAS captain, knows a bit about the military. He was the defence spokesman for the Liberals, now sitting on the back bench because, like I say, the Liberals think he's a bit too out there. Joining me is the political panel, Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten, now Director of GXO Strategies, and Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Cameron, the big defence sell-off, good housekeeping, or is it, as Andrew Hastie there suggests, that a desperate search for cash by a spendthrift government going broke?
Well, it's a shocking fire sale, Andrew. Shocking fire sale. I mean, this government report's been there since apparently 2023. It was so embarrassing it wasn't for it to be released. They only threw it out when there's no opposition left in Parliament. But thank goodness for Andrew Hastie. I mean, standing up for the dignity of our defence forces. Because these are bases that house families and officers who aren't paid much but have the privilege of living in close areas of the city, in areas which have got that much history and culture attached to them. So no, an absolute fire sale, total disgrace that Miles is going around there. For goodness sake, $1.8 billion. He couldn't find that somewhere else? No. It says a huge problem about the defence budget and the priorities of this government.
Michael Costa, it's interesting there that was Andrew Hastie trampling right over the portfolio responsibility of Angus Taylor, the guy that the Conservatives say, well, if we're going to have a new Conservative leader of the Liberals, we want it to be Angus Taylor, not Andrew Hastie. But there's Hastie making all the running. What did you make of this fire sale? What did you make of Hastie's response?
Well, I think his fundamental point about defence morale, I can verify that that's the case. I mean, we have a defence force across all the defence branches that's lacking in morale, and part of that is due to the shameful lack of investment in defence equipment. I'm talking about the frontline equipment, the stuff you need to actually have a defence. And, you know, we can all refer back to the Virgin flight pilot that alerted us to the Chinese off our shores. Look, I'm a bit more open to this, given where I've come from. I mean, if there are defence assets that are not needed, that can be sold off, they should be. But I think they're going to have a real problem with Victoria Barracks in Sydney and Victoria Barracks in Melbourne. These are heritage structures that I just don't think they're going to sell. But the bottom line on this, even if they do all of this, the paltry $1.8 billion, that's less than 3% of the defence budget, the current defence budget, and inflation's running it higher than that. So in real terms, we're still going backwards.